Welcome to my corner of the multiverse, everyone. Happy New Year. Y'all made it. Hope you're not in prison. Hope you're not detained. Hope you all are doing all the things you're supposed to be doing. But welcome, welcome, welcome to your Hump Day Guilty Pleasure. This is the Salty Goddess Podcast. I'm Margaret Perry. Let's get right to it because, I told you what it was going to be like for 2026. But I think it's important that we look back a little bit on 2025. Some lessons that I learned and others have learned in 2025 were, first, look at getting older is an honor and it's inevitable. It's not easy. It's not cute. Certainly not always comfortable. But it is a privilege that not everyone gets. And I'm not going to pretend that it's anything but that. We are granted extra currency beyond what others receive. So, in keeping with my theme, time being your most valuable currency and making sure that you spend it wisely is extremely important. Extremely important. So let's make sure we do that. Getting old. Wow. Had a conversation with a young lady this past week. It gutted me, okay? When I was recounting an issue that took place with an accreditation error, is all I'm going to say. And it was for a license for someone. And this young lady said to me, well, why didn't you just look it up on the internet? Well, this issue took place back in the 90s. And that particular accreditation, that license, there was no database for that. So we didn't look that crap up online. Okay, we had paper back then. And it was at that moment that I thought to myself, holy shit, am I old? And then I thought, well, you can feel bad about that because you're old enough to be everybody's mother in this room. That's okay. Or you can be like, holy shit, I'm old. And I'm getting to be and live longer than a lot of other people. So I could either feel sad because I have white hair and I'm getting wrinkles and I'm old, or I can look at it from a totally different perspective. And perspective is one of the theories, one of the concepts we're going to dive into a lot going forward in 2026. All right, so getting old, it is an honor, but we're all going to do it at some point. And I mean, every minute that ticks by, we get a little bit older. Second, if you cannot find something to laugh about, if you cannot make other people laugh every day, don't come to my office. Okay, humor is extremely important. Laughter is some of the best medicine on this planet. And bringing laughter to someone else, I mean, listen, that's a gift. Beautiful wrapping, beautiful bow, wrapped absolutely perfectly. Bring laughter to me every opportunity that you get. Because humor builds strength, it builds resistance. Okay? So find something to laugh about. Find a way to make someone else laugh. And you know what? You get double the points if you can make someone who's having a really shitty day laugh and bring them out of it. It might be just something as simple as someone walking past your office door and you can tell they're having a day. And you can say, hey, I got some candy over here in this bowl and my panel van is parked out back. I almost made somebody fall off their feet saying that once. So laughter is extremely important. It really is. Some people will be like, oh, bah, humbug, whatever. I don't like it. Trust me, that person, they'll remember that you made them laugh when they were just having a shit day. Now let's talk about growth. Personal growth. It's a choice. It's a choice that only you can make. No one can make it for you. You can be inspired and you can be coached. People can beg you. People can threaten you, give you an ultimatum. But only you can make the decision to grow. It is your responsibility. Yours and yours alone. Which brings me to number 4, which is, and I'm going to be very clear here, it is your responsibility and only you can do the work. No mentor, no therapist, no program, no podcast, not even the Amazing Salty Goddess podcast can do the reps for you. Only you can do it. So, just remember, don't be performative. If you say you're going to work on it, you better do it. Your words must align with your actions. Number 5 is going to be that you have to want it for you, not for applause, not to prove anybody wrong, not to look good on paper. Real change is powered by intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic, from within yourself. You cannot grow if your only motivation is a threat or an ultimatum. It's not real growth. And if you don't have intrinsic motivation, that change, it dies. You'd never achieve it. You never achieve it. All right? You can't. And here's the thing. Somebody can look you in the face and say to you, I know, you're right. I should really work on that. Or, yeah, that's on me. I should really try to do something a little bit different. But if you don't believe it and you're not interested in the amount of work that goes into that growth, it's never going to happen. But before you decide not to make that growth take place, and we're going to talk about this, I want you to think about the downstream effect of that decision. We'll talk about that in a moment. The 6th thing that I learned about or from 2025 is that you can absolutely bullshit people. Some people you can bullshit a lot longer than others. There are those that you can only bullshit for a very short time because, they've seen a thing or two, because they've done a thing or two, or maybe they've just seen you with a different name and a different face. All right. So you can bullshit people. And yes, you might even get away with it for a long while. But here's a question you'd better be able to answer early on. What's your plan B when the truth catches up to you? Do you have a contingency plan? Do you have a backup plan? Do you have a backup plan for the backup plan? Some people will think that level of redundancy is, like a tick or a problem. But I'm a firm believer in having a backup plan for the backup plan. You often don't even need the first backup plan, but the moment that you don't have it is the moment you're going to need it. But what's your plan B? What's your contingency plan when the truth catches up to you and all of your bullshit gets laid out under bright light? Let me tell you, it's not a pleasant place. Let's talk about number 7 of 2025. Every action and every inaction, everything has a ripple effect. decisions and indecisions both move that needle. And if you don't understand the downstream impact of your choices, that's very short-sighted. And that will come back to bite you in the ass. So what do I mean by downstream impact? Let's talk about healthcare, because that's what I do, right? That's what I've been doing for the past 35 years or so. Let's say you are a preceptor, we'll say for an EMS provider program, and you cut corners and you don't require that your preceptee, your student, attends all of the hours of their preceptorship. And they haven't really completed all the skills they're supposed to complete for the experience they're supposed to have so that they're prepared, to take their exam and be certified. What happens? Well, yeah, you push a student through, they take an exam, they pass their certifying exam, and you move on to the next student. But you don't see that provider doesn't have the skills, the knowledge, or the resilience to do the job. In turn, maybe they share misinformation with their colleagues, their coworkers. Maybe they're on a call to take care of a patient that's critical, and they don't have all that they need knowledge-wise to handle this patient. And then the patient suffers. Maybe that individual passes away and they were the breadwinner for their family. And because of your ineptitude and your desire to not follow rules and regulations and policies and procedures that are in place to ensure that your trainee, that your student will graduate and be certified with the knowledge they need, you have now impacted that patient, that patient's family, and the provider. And if that provider did, in fact, share misinformation with colleagues, you have now potentially impacted even more patients. Now, I agree, we could spend a lot of time thinking about the what ifs and every fork in every road. But imagine if you just did your fucking job. Nobody would be worrying about any of it. Get what I'm saying? So, every action, every inaction, ripple effects. Decisions and indecisions impact others. When you don't give a shit enough to think about the downstream impact of your choices, you are a jackhole. And I'm going to tell you something. That includes any relationship, any situationship, any employer, employee, all of it. Okay? If you can't see the forest for the trees, put your axe down, please, and get home. Put your feet up in a recliner. Just hang out there. Okay? Seriously. And I'm not even talking about you necessarily even being the most important, like the surgeon, okay, in the OR. I'm not even talking about that. You should be putting your best foot forward. And I'll tell you what, if you don't have what you need, you better fucking ask for it. Just fucking ask for it. If you need knowledge. If you haven't learned a specific skill or task, ask. You don't have to bullshit your way through life. Just ask. I promise you, somebody will be happy to teach you. Someone will. All right? It's extremely important. And this is what we're going to bring into 2026. These are the lessons I've learned. And just so you guys know, it isn't just the young ones that are full of bullshit. I'm seeing these bullshit spewing people in their teens, their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, Christ, 60s and 70s. What the hell is going on with y'all? Do you ever grow up? Ever? 8, give credit where credit is due. Always. Always. It's a lazy leader that presents a concept, a theory, an idea as their own when it truly belongs to another person. And we've seen it all through history anyway. Yeah, we all know that. There are people that have taken credit for things that they never, ever fucking did. Okay. All in the name of, I don't even give a shit what name you used. You're a thief. You're a jackhole. And somebody should throat punch you. It's that simple. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't give a shit if it's just a recipe. Give credit where credit's due. I don't care if it's a list. It doesn't matter. If it was not your idea, stop trying to write it off like it's your own. You'll get found out. But don't do that to other people. That is so rude and disrespectful. And you know what? It's not even just disrespectful to the individual that you stole it from. It's disrespectful to the people that you're lying to. I don't know where the hell honesty went in 2025. It seems to have just flown right out the fucking window. The 9th thing that I learned about 2025. Well, I actually kind of knew this. I've known this for quite a while. My dad told me a lot of this stuff. But when you are entrusted with a mission, any mission, carry it out to the absolute best of your ability. Always. Not just when it's convenient, not just when someone is watching, but because integrity is what you do when no one is auditing you. Okay? I have to tell you that when you can't even be trusted and you're in your 40s and your 50s and your 60s, I look around and think to myself, what happened there? What happened? What in the world is going on? Now listen, let me put a stop to this right here on this glorious hump day while you're all enjoying your guilty pleasure here in my corner of the multiverse. Okay. What happened to you that you didn't grow up? It's amazing to me that you will demand of others what you deny yourself. You want everyone to be honest with you. You want everyone to do the job to the best of their ability when it concerns you. But, you deny others that same standard. And that's really, really wild to me. That you think that when you're out there lying, cheating, and stealing, and you're literally not doing your job, that it's okay. Now, I will tell you, does everyone on this planet wake up at 4 a.m., their feet hit the floor, and they're like ready to go? And they have a high energy day? No. Even myself, there are days that I wake up and I think to myself, is it already morning? Yeah, this bed's so warm, so comfy. My electric blanket on 6. Okay. And I don't want to get up sometimes. Some days I have low energy. Some days by noon, I'm just like, I need a nap. It's normal. Nobody's up 24/7, 365. We all have those days. But when that's your bullshit every day of the week, your employer who's cutting you a check deserves more. Okay? Otherwise, it's theft of service, friends. It's theft. You taking a paycheck and you didn't do your damn job the whole week? Please. I get it. A day here, 2 hours there, whatever. I get it. I do. But not every day, day in and day out. While you strut around like, your shit don't stink. I got news for you. You do. You stink. All right. Integrity. It's important. It's what remains when you're no longer in the room. Try it on. I'll bet you find something that'll fit. And then number 10. Always be honest with yourself. Not some curated version that everybody sees on Facebook. Not the public-facing version, but the quiet, private, no excuses truth. That honesty. Because self-deception is truly the most expensive lie you'll ever tell. And time, the most valuable currency you have, you spend being fake, deceiving yourself, instead of taking the time and making the effort to grow, do better, be better. And I'm really shocked at how much of this I see in the adult population. I don't know if it's their parents. It might be. It might be society. It might be burnout. It might be mental hygiene issues. It could be any number of things. Some things are a little bit easier to overcome than others. But try to always be, you have to be honest with yourself. You're a fucking jackhole. Everybody around you knows it too, by the way. Just saying. All right. I try to tell people all the time, oh, you're worried about what you saw on social media? It's just a good angle. That's all. It's just some good makeup, some contouring. I don't know. Maybe they went and got a really good hair color. I don't know. But when you're not honest with yourself, you're not confident in who you are. The real you. I'll give you, I got a perfect example. A lot of people out there are never willing to admit they've made an error because they think, and I've said this before, so I'm just repeating myself here. They got to cover up an error because they're concerned that people will think that they're less than. I made an assessment about something that took place, and I spoke to 2 different people about it. And it was a negative assessment. And it turns out I was wrong. And when I found out that I was wrong, I let those 2 people know. And I said, I made an error. I didn't have all the information. And my assessment was wrong. And it was off. And I'm so glad that our discussion remained between us until I had a little bit more time to look into something else, more going on there. Not everybody can admit that that's an error. And that's really sad because when you admit that you're wrong about something and they know, and by the way, they already knew too. They had already figured that out, I'm sure. Okay. But when you're wrong, admitting that you're wrong, you're genuine because every single person on the planet is wrong about something. Every once in a while it happens. Every once in a while. All right. So don't be afraid to admit you're wrong. All right. Now listen, I got a nephew. He's an attorney. Okay. I got friends that are attorneys. They will tell you that if you're being questioned by the police, you don't admit anything. So do what your attorney says. But I'm just talking about, I'm not talking about criminal stuff here. This is not any legal advice. Okay. Just saying. I'm absolutely certain that my nephew would tell you if you're being questioned by the authorities for a crime, you should probably keep your mouth shut. Just saying. Okay. But listen, guess what? If you're not committing crimes because you're being responsible, you won't have to worry about it. I can tell you that. So those are the things we've learned in 2025. That means that much like a friend of mine who I helped out this year, and they believe it's going to be the best year ever. Okay. I think this person is probably right. It is going to be a really great year for them. Let's work on ourselves in 2026. Let's talk about the skills that you need to reframe your mind and to become intrinsically motivated to improve your situation. Doing the same shit over and over again is going to get you nowhere. You're going to be hopping from job to job, relationship to relationship, college to college, everything. So let's try to modify our behavior so that we can have better outcomes for 2026. All right. That's the goal. So for 2026, let's get you the skills that you need to be the best version of who you are. And I hope that the best version of you is someone loaded with integrity, honesty, and hard work and dedication, and not wasting your most valuable resource. All right, that's the goal. Now, you know what's not a waste of time? Making sure that you're up every hump day so you can grab this episode at 5 a.m. so you can get into my corner of the multiverse and figure out how you can better spend your most valuable currency. So, thank you all for joining me this week. I know the holidays have left a lot of us, some of us really joyfully happy, some of us heavier than we were when we went into the holidays. Cookies and candies and sweets, oh my. All right. So let's work towards some of these goals that will help us grow to be better, stronger, and more adept and resilient in handling what's about to come our way in 2026. So, thank you for joining me this week again for your, hump day guilty pleasure. Please follow, share, download, and let everybody know that 2026 is going to rock. And we're going to make that happen. All right, I'm signing off until next week. Let's see what we can come up with, because I'm damn sure, Skippy, that there's going to be some fuckery somewhere down the road here. Okay? You know it's going to happen. This is the Salty Goddess Podcast. I'm Margaret. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining.